Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an amazing day. It is Ping here. Today we are in Singapore, and I was recently walking around Chinatown and I realized that there are just so many foods in Chinatown that are so famous, but I haven't gotten a chance to show on this channel. So I feel like today is a perfect day, a perfect opportunity for me to show you all the delicious foods that are located in Chinatown. Now, Chinatown is really a food hub because there are 4 main hawker centers. All these 4 hawker centers have just tons and tons of famous foods that have been featured on the Michelin guide. Anthony Bourdain has gone to try them. They're just super famous, and they're classics. They're institutions here in Singapore. So today we're gonna get the opportunity, we're gonna try all of these amazing dishes that they offer at Chinatown, and I'm really excited because it's gonna be such a delicious day ahead. All right, let's go get some food at Chinatown today. So for the first stop of our Chinatown tour, we've come to Chinatown Complex, which is the largest hawker center here in Singapore. Now the first stop at Chinatown Complex has to be this really famous cooked food store called Jiaji Cooked Food. They're very famous for their yam cake, which as you can tell is really simple. It's just the yam cake, but then they cover it with chili sauce, they cover it with some brown sauce, and they put sesame seeds on top. What I've heard is that this yam cake is supposed to be super bouncy. Yam cake is savory, it's not a sweet thing, but it's supposed to be really fluffy at this store. So let's try this out. Oh, what I love about yam cakes in Singapore is that they have this chili sauce, this like spicy chili sauce, but then they also have this like sort of sweet dark sauce mixed together. But I have to say the texture on this yam cake is amazing. I mean, just holding it in your chopsticks, you can feel how slippery it is, and it just breaks apart when you try to hold on to it because it's just so smooth on the inside. You can taste a bit of that yam texture, but the main unique thing about this is the fluffy, the texture, that fluffiness. It's almost like biting into a solid cloud. It's not as fluffy as cotton candy, but it's definitely like a glutinous fluffiness to it. I mean, you just have to come here and try it. The sauces are amazing, but the sesame seeds provide a bit of like a crunchy texture on the top with the sauces and the fluffy texture of the yam cake. It's absolutely amazing.
I would like to go there at the back of the house where a high school teacher caught us when making out. You and me, perfect strangers, but really not at the same time. Nothing can come.
Next up, we have one of the most famous stalls at Chinatown Complex. It's called 168. The number of the stall is 168. It's very famous, but they are a Michelin guide satay. Now I got 5 pork and 5 chicken, but I can't just describe how good this smells. I mean, when you grill meat on a steak, it's just gonna be perfect the way it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a steak, I'm gonna dip it into the peanut sauce, and then let's try this out. That char grilled flavor is just so strong, so intense. You can feel that like smokiness, that charcoal flavor inside. It's just so strong. The meat flavor, the gamey flavor isn't really there, but I mean, it is chicken after all. It's not like mutton. But what they do really well, that char grilled flavor. Peanut sauce isn't very spicy. It's more peanut than it is chili, which means that if you're not a spice lover, this is perfect for you. But oh, that chicken is so smoky. Next, I'm gonna try the pork satay. Just dip it into the sauce. Try it out. If you love melty fat, that's the one for you. They literally have pieces of translucent fat in between the lean meat. So when you bite in, the juices of that grilled fat just burst. And that grilled fat just adds that smokiness flavor. It's so oily, so smooth. I don't know which one's better. The pork one has that pork fat, which I love because it brings in that like smokiness, and then that fat just explodes. But the chicken has a very strong smoky flavor. I mean, I get why this is Michelin guide level now. Like, this is probably one of the best satays I've had in Singapore. We're gonna go to the next hawker center.
Telling you now, we're gonna go all the way up, 'cause we got it all figured it out. For the both of us, we've been rolling out, top down. Telling you now, we're gonna go all the way up, 'cause we got it all figured it out. For the both of us, we've been rolling out, top down.
We've come to the next hawker center in Chinatown. This is People's Park Complex. It's huge. There's tons of stalls here, tons of options to choose from. But first thing we've gotten is this beautiful xiao long bao, which are those soup dumplings. These xiao long baos are here from a very famous stall called Jing Feng, and they specialize in these dumplings. They're supposed to be really good. For $4. You get an entire like box of dumplings, and there's 6 of them. But these are supposed to be some of the best soup dumplings in Singapore. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lift one up and try this out. That is probably the best soup dumpling I've had in Singapore. There is so much soup in that dumpling. Like, there is a reason this is a soup dumpling, because there really is a ton of soup in here. And the soup, the broth, the flavor, it's so porky, it's so flavorful. There is more soup in that dumpling than there is meat. And that just tells you how juicy that dumpling is. Oh, this might be might be the best soup dumpling in this entire country.
Put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling.
Next stall we've gotten food from is a stall known as Yongxiang Xin Tofu. It is famous. I mean, the line is so long. But the food delivery is really quick. So with quick service and there's still such a long line, it means that it's really popular. This is Yong Tau Fu, but it's also from the 1970s. But what's unique about this one is that they don't have any starch. There's no rice, there's no noodles. It's just tofu and soup. So if you're on a diet, you want to lose weight when you're here in Singapore, this is the place to get food from. Now, as you can see, they have a couple pieces of tofu. You don't get to choose what tofus there are, and this very clear soup. So first off, we're just gonna try the soup out. Warm, comforting. It's a very clear broth that almost tastes like water. So not much flavor to it, but it's just really comforting to eat. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a piece of tofu. We're gonna dip it in chili sauce, and then we're gonna try this out. What I like about this tofu is that it's really silky. It's really smooth, silky texture. Unlike Yong Tau Fu at Tiong Bahru, which is a little bit more bouncy, it has a little bit more chew. This has no chew. This literally just slides down your throat. It's a really slippery, really smooth type of tofu. It doesn't really have that firm bite. So if you like tofu with a little bit more bite, this is not the one for you. But if you like really silky tofu, then this might just be the one. I would say that this is a very unique type of Yong Tau Fu. I mean, it is very old. It's been around for almost 50 years. But the way they do things is a little bit different from the one we had at Tiongbaru. The type of chili sauce they use, the type of tofus they use. It's a very, very different approach, I think, to Yong Tau Fu. And it's definitely worth a try. It's very comforting. Like, this is really comfort food at its finest here in Singapore. Unfortunately, the next hawker center we wanted to go to is closed. So we have no choice but to head to the final hawker center. Let's go. We are now at Maxwell Food Center, one of the most famous hawker centers here in Singapore. It's also home of the really famous chicken rice, but we are not here for the chicken rice today. If you want to watch chicken rice videos, I have a video about chicken rice on my channel. But today, we are here at Maxwell for a very unique dish. There's a little stall called the Maxwell Fuzhou oyster cake, and they sell these deep fried oyster cakes that are a dying type of food. You don't really see them often. It's a really old type of food, and what's famous about it is that Anthony Bourdain and many other celebrities have come to this stall and tried out this oyster cake. I have it right here in front of me. It smells just absolutely amazing. You can smell the oyster flavor, but at the same time it's deep fried, it's crispy, it's literally brown and golden. I'm just gonna take off a piece here and we're gonna give this a try. That is absolutely amazing. First things first, the outside is super crispy. I mean, they've been deep frying it in that really hot oil. You can just see how crispy that is. That is so crispy. But what's inside is just so amazing. You have all these vegetables, surprisingly. You have meat, you have shrimp, you have oyster, but it's just jam-packed with all these ingredients inside. Overall, there's a very strong oyster flavor, but it's the texture, that crispiness on the outside, but inside, it's just mixed. It's got vegetables, it's got meat, and the dough itself is very fluffy, very pillowy. So it's just so many different textures all coming together. It's so unique, so many different things. It's just a huge mix, just a huge mix of so many different items. You can even tell like all the ingredients inside. It's just jam-packed with ingredients. It's like a little fried packet of happiness. For $2, you get something so delicious. I mean, I understand why Anthony Bourdain tried this because it is absolutely amazing. I've never seen this outside of this stall here in Singapore, so I think this is maybe the only place in the whole country where you can get this. So when you come to Maxwell, definitely come and try this out. Next stall we've gone to at Maxwell is a stall that's really simple. Rojak Popiah cockles. 3 of the famous dishes here in Singapore. What I've heard they're famous for, however, is their popiah. And the popiah is so good that it got a Michelin recommendation. It's in the Michelin Guide of 2018. Now, what is popiah? Popiah is basically like a spring roll, and the last one we had was in Malaysia. If you remember, in Malacca, I had the absolute best popiah I've ever had. We just got our popiah, which is basically a Malaysian sort of spring roll. Let's give it a try. That is incredible. It's a Michelin one, so we're gonna go see whether it's as good, if not better, than the one in Malaysia. Let's go for it. Let me get this straight. This is a very good popiah. Chili is really strong, really spicy. If you like spicy spring rolls, this is the one for you. Peanuts are nice and crispy. There's egg, there's bean sprouts, there's cabbage. All these ingredients together, really crispy texture inside. It is a great, absolutely phenomenal spring roll. The texture of the really thin skin with all the ingredients inside, I mean, you can tell it barely is able to hold everything because of how thin the skin is. but the ingredients inside are just jam-packed. The flavor is great, but is it better than the one in Malaysia? No. The one in Malaysia was so much more oily. It was just so delicious. It's good. It's definitely good, but it's just not as good as the one I had in Malaysia. Is it one of the best ones I think there are in Singapore? Absolutely. The chili is really delicious. The peanut flavor, the peanut texture is amazing. It adds so much to this spring roll. But if you want to cross the border, I think there are many better options for popiah over in Malaysia. We're gonna go to one more stop. Now, if this next place seems familiar to you, it's because we are back at the Chinatown complex. And I completely realized that I missed this really famous stall. The name is UShinientai, which literally means 1950s. It's a classic coffee shop which was featured in the Michelin Guide. So I decided if they're famous for their coffee, gotta try one of their iced coffees. Let's give it a try. You can't really mess up iced coffee, but on a hot day like today, this is literally the perfect drink. That bitter coffee flavor. And of course, if you're tired, this is the perfect energy drink. If you're walking around Chinatown and you need a little boost, this is the drink for you. Now, the other snack I got is an egg tart. And now egg tarts are all over Singapore, but the store I went to was called Dong Heng. They arguably have the best egg tarts in Singapore. As you can tell, it's beautiful yellow custard and the shape is a diamond. So while most egg tarts are circular shaped, this one is diamond shaped. Let's try this out. The pastry is really flaky on the outside. It literally just disintegrates, it sort of flatters away, but the egg custard, that is the key. I mean, I put it on my tongue and it just disintegrated. I don't know where it went. That's how slippery it is. It's so smooth, so custardy. That's what I love about their egg tart. I think I've shown you guys so many of the different foods available here in Chinatown. I hope this guide helps you if you're coming to Singapore's Chinatown. There are just so many foods here. Many of them I didn't even try this round. So if this video gets enough likes, gets enough views, then I'll consider doing a part 2 to this video. But I hope this guide helps you. I hope you guys enjoyed joining me on this tour of Chinatown, Singapore. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.